It's your boy back with another video. Okay, new character, OC. He's gonna be in the vampire arc, obviously. He has a vampire named Seto, and then sets his place in Smash. But I was doing whatever. But that's his place. I mean, his phrase. So Seto over here has a special ability that I thought was really unique. I kept on, doing it because I was like, what's a technique that looks cool when you put back your sword back in your sheath? I mean, there's the usual, you're already dead, and then you put back your sheath and he's dead. But I think it would be cooler if someone has an ability like this. So basically the ability works as when he hits somebody with his sword, or with his body, or anything, that stacks up damage that is released later on. It's kind of like that one ability in Kurona Kenshin. Not Kurona Kenshin. Is that what it's called? Chivalry of the Failed Knight, or Cavalry of the Failed Knight, whatever. And basically, it's that one girl who slashes the guy, and then she could use her ability to open the wound even further. It's kind of like that, but it works with everything. So usually Seto would, like, when you go against him, he would literally just be aiming for your sword and constantly hitting it with all his strength. And then later on, when you try to, like, close him the gap, he would back away, and then he would sheath the sword, and that's when he goes, set, draw. You see, why when he does that, all the hits he's done, imagine that, except happening again, except instantaneous, which is basically at the same time. So you're being hit with all the sword draws, or all the sword hit he did earlier, at you at the same time. That would obviously confuse any other swordsman or vampire that he hunts, and then it would just like blow up the sword, which would give him an opening to finish him off. Seto is part of the Setai family, which is basically called Krusha family. It's this family with left eyes that are usually sealed, but these eyes give the people unimaginable powers of swordsmanship. I think I'm gonna make it where the origin is actually with Kenshi, because he's a swordsman, and somehow they get the ability from him, but we'll figure out that later or something. And this ability description. Ability, set, draw. Can release a second hit after target is hit by sword close. Basically, the activation is his sword closing. And after that, he has to reset and continue hitting on. So this is basically his general clothing. He's 65 years old, so he's kind of like a 1700 soldier. And he has a cloak. He has thigh-high boots. No, I did not make it just. I have an excuse of thigh-high boots. And he has this like general vest without any sleeves, because mobility, I guess. This is rankings over here. This cavalry sword. Yeah, I also wanted to use a different sword than a katana, so it's a cavalry sword now. And he has these like little sharp things, which is like ribbons to well, buttons. It's like cord buttons from like the 1800s. But he never buttons it, he unzips it, because I'll show you later. And this is his ribbons for his awards and stuff. And he has shoulder pads, obviously. His right eye is a demon eye, when I vampire eye. That grants him immortality and makes him able to fight vampires at the same level. His main like hairstyle is just a regular bangs down, but one giant bang that's black. He also has two fangs, just like a vampire. Okay, let's get into more detail. There you go. Do you think I care about justice? You see, Seto is a battle junkie. Seto, how can I explain it? Seto hunts vampires not because vampires are bad necessarily. He hunts them for a challenge. Because the only thing that challenges him is fighting vampires, it seems. Because back in the 1700s, vampires were more prevalent, I guess, and then it was like, you know what? I'm gonna hunt one, because at first it was for revenge. Because his village was probably slaughtered or something, making this shit up. And right when he did it, he realized something. His empty life isn't empty anymore. Because he had a challenge. He fought for his life. And that's why he loves hunting vampires, because they've been ostracized for many years, that whenever they fight someone, they fight with their full strength. to live and survive. And he's been doing this for like 365 years after he became a vampire or half vampire. So, do you think I care about justice? This was I guess this is when Tut or the other Kenshi, the vampire Kenshi, questioned him, why are you like killing vampires, bro? I'm just trying to live in peace and shit. And it's like, I don't care. It's like, what's the justice in that? It's like, I don't care about justice. I care about fighting. See, personality, battle junkie. So his ribbons are actually used for connections, because his buttons have these blades on them, and like he whips the blade off, and then he connected with his ribbon to use it and draw it to subdue vampires or slow them down in case they try to run away. Like this. See, vamp restrain hint. Ribbon's useful there. He only has 3 of them, so he uses them very wisely. I'm thinking I'm gonna make each of these ribbons do a different ability. Like maybe, I don't know, one freezes them. Nah, not like elemental abilities, more like just like vague abilities, I guess. 365 years. Ancestor of Coit Crucia, family of Eternal Eyes. That's that. It's Eternal Eyes. So I'm using the word eternal to describe a different side of swordsman method, like Eternal Slash, and yeah, it's basically it's like Eternal Slash. That's all I know. And he has set eye. Coit Crucia has Dimensional Eye, which opens up the system. And his cape has a special thingamabob, which is these lines right here. Each of these lines I separated scarps, which he got from killing each vampire. You see, he's not an actual vampire, he's like a half vampire, and because of this, he can't use scarps like vampires. You can't just put it in him and then keep the power. I think I'll explain this in another video, but I'll re-explain again. Vampires have the ability to kill other vampires, and when they do, they have extra blood. This extra blood, or vamp blood, is used to make scars, which they increase their power with. The more they have, the bigger the scarf is, the more patterns the scarf is equals more blood. And that basically means if they get hit and they start bleeding out, they have scarf blood, or the vamp scarf blood, which could re-heal them because they have extra blood. To kill a vampire, you need to make them run out of all their vamp blood, which would usually end up with a vampire sucking out all their blood and make a scarf, or increase their scarf length and whatnot. And he has multiple of these scarves. Usual vampires would try to absorb these scarves to make more patterns on their scarf, because the more patterns goes stronger, obviously. I explained this a long time ago. And, what else? Oh yeah. Half vampires, they can't do that. They just can't. They can't process these scarves and contain the vamp blood, or make it into a giant scarf. So instead, he just stitches it on here, so whenever he's low on health, he just absorbs it then, and then he re-gets his blood. That makes any sense. Now, he can't just like dope himself with over excessive blood, because he can't make a blood scarf, because he's only a half vampire. Half vampires live immortal, but they don't have any of the cool vampire abilities. I mean, he can suck out blood from vampires, but that's only like his last resort, because, the guy loves battle. Yeah, I think that's basically all with Battle Junkie. I mean, unless I have Coit Crucia. That's Seto. Yeah, Coit Crucia. Coit Crucia is one of his descendants. He's a mercenary, I think. And his eye is Slash, or Source. His eye is called Dimensional. Dimensional eye. There we go. Dimensional Slash right here. Oh, it's his right eye, not left. We'll worry about that later. So Dimensional Slash basically sets up these slashes in midair, and he usually sets them in surprise, so they look blue. It's hard to explain. I drawed it earlier in the sketchbook, so if you find one of those videos, then you can see how that ability works. But when you run out of this, he goes blind, just like the other guy. When he uses it 3 times a day, he goes blind. But yeah, he's basically the descendant of that guy. What else can I say? Well, that's basically it. Other than his sword gun draw, but I think I did that already. Next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to figure out how to make an animation. This video is so long and moody. It's just that I kind of want to make a video once a week. That's it. See you.